How's it going, everybody? This is Clint Carson. I hope everyone's having a great day. And in this video, we're going to be talking about the best pressure washing attachments for your pressure washing gun. Contrary to popular belief, we're not going to be using the green, yellow, or even the white tip or the soap tip that comes with the pressure washer itself. You've probably seen the line of them and the pretty colors. We really don't use any of that here. None of the pros use that. None of the amateurs use that. Not even the beginners use that. I have it listed right here of everything that we're going to be using, and I'm going to explain each and every single one of them and why they're important and why we even actually use them in the first place. Why we use them over the traditional ones that you find that come with the pressure washer. Why those really aren't the best at all, to tell you the truth. These are good ones. There's cheap versions of these. They're expensive versions of these. I have some cheap ones. I have some expensive ones. Overall, they're not too expensive, and we're going to be dissecting each and every single one of them and why we're going to be needing them. Before we start, I got my flyer templates right here. I give these for free on my program, the Pressure Washing Masterclass. You guys have probably heard me talk about it before, but it's at 20 bucks a month. I'll tell you how to run a pressure washing business. I do one-on-one mentoring, 240-minute beginner program. I give out my templates for my signs, flyers, my door hangers. I give out before and after pictures. I give out videos. I do Q&As. I do all that fun stuff. I even give out certificates of completion to people who complete the program, tailored to each person. Just a quick plug, if you're a beginner and amateur and want to scale your business higher or want to get into the pressure washing business, I do offer that. You can get a 7-day free trial only if you're interested. Second link in the description. The first thing we're going to talk about is not actually a gun tip. It's going to be a downstreamer. Pretty much all these tips are going to be tailored to the downstream injector. This goes after your pump, and then you plug in your high pressure hose afterwards. Basically, it's a way to siphon out chemical through your pressure washer. It's how we do 99% of our jobs. I have a video right here if you want to come check out more about the downstream injector, but quick mention that pretty much these are for the downstream injector because this is such an important thing. I don't have time to talk about it in this video, but if you need more information, go check out that video. We have 4 gun tips today. The first one we're going to be talking about is the turbo tip. This is the replacement for the green tip that you see that comes with the pressure washer that I was talking about in the intro. The turbo tip is way more pressure, and it's just way easier to use. You don't have to worry about orientation too. When you use the green tip, sometimes you have to twist it certain size. You don't have to worry about that with the turbo tip. The turbo tip is designed for stone, concrete, and retaining walls. You've probably seen me clean retaining walls if you watch the channel a lot, but I also use this to wand the edges of concrete. Whenever you do surface cleaning work, it's good to wand the edges and the cracks because you could always cause debris fly up in the surface cleaner and clog your tips. We don't really want that, so we like to take the turbo tip and go on the outskirts of the driveway and the cracks. I also use this for the curbs as well. It's a perfect substitution for the green tip because it emits way more pressure. As long as you're not getting 1 inch away or like 1 centimeter away from the concrete, you're not gonna etch it. You don't really need to worry about that. And it sprays in a perfect circle, and it's really easy to get good patterns in. So the turbo tip is the number 1 on this list, and this is a high pressure tip, guys. This is not meant to be used with the downstream injector. This is for stone, concrete, nothing else. Do not use this on houses. I repeat, do not use this on houses. This is not a house tip. The rest of them are gonna be house tips. This one is not. This is the only concrete one that you're gonna need. The second one is going to be the M5 twist. This is an adjustable nozzle that is able to go from straight shoot to a fan shoot. I don't have too much videos of me using it. I don't use this one as much, but I can't deny the effectiveness of this tip. The reason I don't use this tip, this is pretty much a soap tip. If you're running a downstreamer like I was mentioned earlier, and you have your filter inside the SH, this is going to pull the SH pretty much no matter what. There's really no way to adjust this to get a water tip unless you're using a remote system where you can turn on the chemical and turn it off with a remote. This is really good for rinsing. What I'm going to implement in my business this year, I'm going to worry a lot more about property protection, and my favorite is going to be the M5 twist. So what I'm going to do in every house wash that I'm going to do nowadays, in the summer, in the spring, because I don't get a lot of rain here, I'm pretty big on not killing grass. So what I want to do is I'm going to use this tip for straight water. So I'm not going to have my downstream filter in the chemical. I'm going to have it just out and about, not being used. And I'm going to use the M5 twist to just spend 10 to 15 minutes watering everything because I burnt probably about 2 or 3 patches of grass on houses, and that was very embarrassing. Of course, the customers were okay with it because it does grow back, but it's just kind of embarrassing. And I don't really want that. And I think the M5 twist, when it comes to rinsing, is the best, no doubt about it. But with that slight con of be careful with where your injector's at, because if it's in chemical, it's pulling chemical, and there's not really too much you can do about it. The third one today is going to be the Davis shooter tip. Sometimes when you see the pros they have a welded kind of like a J-rod. They have like a welded tip where it's a shooter tip and an M5 twist tip. That's pretty much only useful if you have a remote system like a Flow Pro to be able to turn the chemical off and turn off like I was talking about previously. But I don't have a remote system, but this shooter tip, if needed, can shoot a lot further than this shooter tip. Again, we'll get to that in a second. That's the J-rod. This is just pretty much a long range soap tip whenever you need to get super high up. Say if you don't have a huge A-frame ladder or you don't have a ladder at all and you're missing something that you need to get, usually this can come in handy with your 4 GPMs and snipe whatever position you're looking for, because it's very handy. I don't use it too much, but when I do need it, it comes in very much clutch. You have to remember, guys, that there's always two sides of the coin when it comes to running a business. You have the physical side, which I'm teaching here, and you also have the back side, which is like marketing and advertisement, and that's where Markate steps in. Markate's not gonna come to your house and hold your gun for you and pressure wash. That's my job. What Markate does, it's a little buddy that sits in your pocket on your phone and actually runs your business from the sideline. They also have the nicest staff that I've ever seen before in my entire life, and they have this feature called tipping feature. So when you guys get paid, there's a little button that pops up for them to actually tip you. And no joke, I'm gonna throw it up on the screen right here. I did a job one day for $300 and the girl tipped me $100. A legit example from my business. I don't think I would have gotten that tip if I didn't have the professionalism that Markate offers for my business. I can only do so much. Since we're on the topic of real examples, another one of my favorite ones is when I did a job for a guy who owns a bunch of real estate. The job went perfectly, guys. I'll throw up the pictures right here. And the guy walks up to me and he goes, "I need you to send me an invoice." I don't want you guys to ever get embarrassed. I don't want you to ever have that feeling of having your tail stuck between your legs. You can click the first link in the description or the link in my bio to get 14 days free and $20 off your first month. Guys, that is a stellar deal. I'm gonna warn you guys, if you guys start your free trial, you're gonna get hooked immediately because it's better than any other software out there. Markate directly supports Clean with Carson. They get my absolute seal of approval, and helping them also helps out me. So it'd mean the world for me if you guys go check them out. Most people who are starting out probably don't have a remote system, so that's why I talk about these separately, but you can get this in one welded tip. It's called an M5 shooter tip. Last tip we're gonna be talking about is the J-rod system. If you haven't seen this tip before, I use it all the time. This is without a shadow of a doubt my most used tip, and it might look a little confusing, but let's break it down. This is just a multi-welded tip of just being able to interchangeably switch into what I'm looking for whatever type of job I'm at. So for instance, I can use a fan tip and I can do short range spraying, whether I'm like 10 feet or 5 feet away from a house. I can just spray the house down, and say if there's like a second story, you know, nothing crazy like we need the shooter tip for, but this does have a shooter tip on it as well. It's just not as strong. And it can shoot easily 2 stories, no problem. So I'm watering the house, I'm fanning it from, you know, fanning it 5 feet away. I can switch to a slightly higher pressure shooter tip, and I can snipe the gables or the tops of a house that needs to be rinsed down. And when I mentioned earlier about where the filter's at in the chemical, this is why the J-rod is my favorite, because you have 2 water tips and 2 soap tips. So I don't need to go back to the truck and pull out my filter and put it in water, put it in chemical. It eliminates all of that. With these orifice size, because the water orifice size is actually small enough to not let air go through the siphon hose. But when you switch to a soap tip, they're much bigger and it's much more of a mist, and it's able for that downstream injector to initiate to pull a 10-to-1 ratio of sodium hypochlorite. So I'm on a soap fan tip right now. If I pull the trigger, I'm gonna be misting out chemical, and then for that same scenario of rinsing out water, if I have the gables are disgusting or the soffits on the second story are disgusting, I'm not gonna be able to hit that with a fan tip. I'm going to switch to a shooter soap tip and hit that with the shooter soap tip. You can kind of see the versatility of the J-rod and how it wins out in the systems of 4 GPMs and not using Flow Pros. It's just super convenient, and it's able to basically be a jack of all trades, if you will. It has everything you need, cool, no matter what. I wanted to make this video because it's like right now it's February 22nd, and it's almost peak time for us pressure washers. Or if you don't know, obviously pressure washing is a bit of a seasonal season. You can get business year round, but without a shadow of a doubt, you're gonna be the most busy in the spring and the summer. And it's almost spring right now. I wanna make this video because it's almost peak season for us pressure washers. And it's very important that the newcomers and the beginners, because every year we have new pressure washers join the field and wanna be a part of the community. Some of us stay, some of us don't, it's just how it goes. But this is very important, very beginner knowledge that you guys need to know if you're wanting to get into a pressure washing business. Whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on Facebook, wherever you may be, you're gonna see these type of tips, and it's really important for you to know why they're using them over the counterparts that you may know. Again, the green, the white, the yellow, the ones that you normally see when you see a pressure washer. And that's kind of my goal of this channel. I'm very beginner focused because most people that watch these videos are most likely beginners. I probably have some professionals and amateurs. I know I do. I've seen your guys' comments before, and I really appreciate you guys watching, but the majority of my content is tailored to beginners and people who are just starting. That's why you see me. That's why I take you guys on jobs with me. That's why I try to be very methodical in explaining stuff, because I think it's very important, because there's a lot of information out there about pressure washing, and it can be a little too much for some of the new guys. And I don't want anyone to get discouraged about this business, because this business is very fruitful and it's only gonna work if you make it work. You see a lot of guys out here that say pressure washing is easy. I've said it before, and that is true to an extent. But if you are not able to keep yourself accountable and actually go be a go-getter, it's not going to work. You can't just sit in your house all day not learning anything. So what you're doing right now on YouTube, learning as much as you can, is a great first step. There's also a lot of stuff that happens, whether it be repairs or equipment issues. There's a lot of learning curve to get through. And it's very important that you guys stay on YouTube, stay on these communities, whatever you need to do to learn what you need to do to pressure wash, because it's almost springtime and it's almost game time for all of us. And I want it to be game time for everybody, whether you're new or an amateur. It's almost game time. We have a lot of money to be made this year. Keep you guys in the loop of what I'm doing in my business and how I'm able to scale, be profitable, and all that fun stuff. I have a big feeling that you guys are going to succeed because you're watching my videos. I'm just kidding. I'm not special in any way, shape, or form, but I do like to train and I do like to teach people in a very methodical way, so they may or may not have any questions afterwards, because that's what I wanted when I first started. I love seeing you guys out there pressure washing and house washing. I love when I see people post and say, I just got my first job, just made my first paycheck. I love seeing that stuff. Hope to see you guys in the community. If you guys are looking for that type of stuff, if you're ready to start a business in the pressure washing field, take that next step. It's there if you guys want it. And most importantly, this has been Clayton Carson. We have a big year ahead of us, guys. It is game on. It is showtime. Let's roll.